How you doing? My name is Christopher Brown. You're now listening to my podcast, Sports Talk with Chris, and this is episode 33. Man, I don't know about y'all, but basketball has been way more than what I expected on the return. I didn't know these games were going to be this lit. I didn't know these storylines to the NBA was going to be this fun to watch. We saw a lot of good games this weekend. A lot of them. Starting on Friday night. That Celtics and that Raptors game. Celtics completely destroyed the Raptors. I thought it was going to be a way closer game than what it was. Boston had control of the whole game. I mean, from beginning to end, there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to win. They had 7 guys in double figures. Leading scorer, Jaylen Brown had 20. Tatum had 18. Kemba Walker had 17. Off the bench, they had 3 guys in double figures. I mean, the Celtics are ready to go. Then on Saturday night was the best night of basketball this weekend. The Clippers and the Trailblazers, back and forth game the entire game. Dame ended up missing 2 free throws. Right? 2 free throws. The only 2 free throws he had the entire game he missed. He had a not so good game, if you want to be honest. 2 for 10 from the 3-point line, 10 for 23 from the field. Wasn't his best game. But at the end of the day, everybody coming that game. What he said this weekend was all facts. He sent home Pat Bev. He sent home Paul George. And Paul George had the excuse talking about that's not a good shot. No, he just dotted your eyes up, boy. Played better defense. I saw a clip on Twitter. It was about 2 minutes, at least, long as people hitting game winners on Paul George. Don't be mad. Own up to it. You haven't been good in the playoffs since 2014. Own up to it. And then he said, he said them comments. They went back and forth on Instagram a little bit. Dame was just speaking facts, man. And he said it in such a calm manner. I don't understand why these guys got mad. Pat Bev was doing all that talking when Dame missed those free throws. He was the one on hype. All Dame Lillard said was sat down in a calm manner, said, I sent him home. So I look at it as a sign of respect because they don't expect that from me. Which is cool. They should have left it at that, but they wanted to go back and forth. So hit Paul George with a crazy line that I didn't get to see Paul George respond to because it's all facts. Told that boy start running from the grind. You keep going from team to team, use the chump. I said, he not lying. Because Paul George, I'm going to get into this real quick. Paul George decided to stay with OKC one more year where he could have left somewhere, and everything would have been cool. Well, you decided to stay and leave. So, yeah, he running from the grind. Because Dame been in Portland through some bad situations and stuck through it. Why? Because that's the type of person Dame is. He's going to keep doing his thing, leading his team. I understand Paul George leaving Indiana because when he came out and said that they didn't want to go out and get another great player to surround him with, I understand that. But dang, you leaving OKC early. Don't say it's because you wanted to go to the crib because you could have went to the crib when you was a free agent. That's all I'm going to say on that. But yeah, man, this weekend was lit. Clippers won that 122-117. That was a good game, though. Very good game. Gary Trent playing good as usual. Had 22. CJ McCollum had 29. Carmelo had 21. You look at the Clippers, Pat Bev didn't play. Kawhi didn't play. Paul George had 21. Shaman had 19. Morris had 15. Reggie Jackson 17. Lou Will 12. It was a good game. Like I said, Saturday was the best night of basketball. We got a double overtime thriller with the Nuggets and the Jazz. Man, this game was lit. Jamal Murray finally came back from injury, and you wouldn't even known the dude was injured. Played 39 minutes. Had 23, 12, and 8. You could tell that he hasn't played basketball in a while, but he had some clutch shots at the end. That's the Jamal Murray I want to see. That's the Jamal Murray I saw in high school when I first heard about him and became a fan. This is Jamal Murray I saw in Kentucky. When he got drafted, I'm like, yo, y'all sleeping on Jamal Murray. This is the Jamal Murray I need to see, man, hitting these clutch shots at the end. Jokic, terrible first half. Wasn't aggressive at all. Second half, he turned up. Ended with 30, 11, and 7. Hit some crazy shots at the end to help lead this Nuggets team to victory. 134 to 132. Michael Porter Jr. also gave you 23 and 11. Grant gave you 21 off the bench. Morris gave you 15 off the bench. Double overtime thriller. Go to the Jazz, man. Donovan Mitchell with some crazy shots too now. Don't get it twisted. Donovan Mitchell is a gunner. He shot 12 for 33 from the field, 5 for 16 from the three-point line. He's a gunner. He's a gunner, but the man hit some crazy shots at the end. Some crazy three-pointers, some crazy mid-ranges, some crazy layups. He did everything in his power to help try to lead his team to victory. Just couldn't pull it off. Mike Conley gave you 20. Gobert gave you 22. Clarkson gave you 19 on the bench. But after that, it's just a drop-off. Like, it's a humongous drop-off. They're missing Bogdanovich bad. And the crazy thing is, Denver won, right? They only hit 9 out of 37 threes. 24%. Look at the Jazz, they hit 22. You look at the free throw game, Denver won 22 to 16. It was a good battle. The Lakers, they lost to the Pacers, 116 to 111. Lakers fans, if you listen to this, do not worry. Y'all aren't worried about these seeding games now that y'all got the first seed, clamped up. Y'all just want to get in rhythm. Y'all not really stressing if y'all win or lose. No, don't get me wrong. Nobody wants to go out there and lose. But as long as they're getting their rhythm, that's all you can ask for. LeBron finally had his first good game. This is the only thing I was worried about. LeBron finally have a good game. 31, 8, and 7. 13 for 24 from the field. Now look at AD though. One thing that's worrying me. AD has had some good performances, but then he's had some terrible performances where he scored under 10 a couple times in his bubble now, and I don't know what's going on. 3 for 14 from the field, or 4 from the three-point line. He needs to correct that, LeBron's had some so-so games, but he's never had in this bubble. He's never went from a great game to terrible games. That's what AD is doing right now, and AD got to get that fixed up. Quinn Cook gave you 20 off the bench. Yeah, Quinn Cook, I need you to tee up because I need Quinn Cook to play a lot in his playoffs because Quinn Cook is a better shooter than Caruso. I think he can score better than Caruso, but what Caruso brings is better defense. But yeah, TJ Warren had 39. It'd have been nice if he had that against the Suns, the team that traded him, but I'm not going to say too much. Oladipo's finally having a good game. He's come back from that injury. 22. Brogdon's back. Gave you 24. Pacers team, low-key legit. Low-key legit. Then you had the Suns and the Heat. I predicted the Suns to win, if I'm not mistaken. 5-0 right now in the bubble. Booker gave you 36 while being 0 for 7 from the three-point line. Ayton gave you 18 and 12. Carter off the bench gave you 20. You look at the Heat, though. They got to their thing. Hero started. Hero's a bucket. Gave you 25, 8, and 10. Duncan Robinson gave you 25. Bam gave you 18, 7, and 9 at the center position. Iggy gave you 12 off the bench. Crowder gave you 17. The Heat were playing without about 3 or 4 guys that's usually in their rotation. And they still, lost to a Suns team. But it was a good game through and through. But them Suns is looking nice. Then the best game of the night on Saturday. The best game of the whole entire weekend. The Bucks and the Mavericks. And I was right picking the Mavericks. This was a game where you had to watch. You couldn't blink. You couldn't go use the bathroom and come back because you was going to miss a ton of basketball action. Luka Doncic. 36, 14, and 19. Man, Luka's a baller. He's been a baller since he started, playing professional at the age of 13. Came into the NBA. And this year, he's just shown his greatness. 36, 14, and 19 against the favorite to come out the East. He completely did everything he wanted to in that court. Everything he wanted to in the court, he did. Porzingis gave you 26 and 11. Finley Smith surprisingly gave you 27 and 11. They needed that third scorer. Because Tim Hardaway only had 8. Seth Curry only had 2. So they were going to need a guy. And I knew that their main 2 stars, Kristaps and Luka, was going to do their thing. But for this team to be successful, they need another guy to give you some buckets. And then he gave you buckets. Then off the bench, Trey Burke gave you 10 and Kleber gave you 15. But Luka, man, 36, 14, and 19. What a great game. Was making crazy passes, hitting clutch shots. Like I said, Luka's a baller. You look at the Bucks. Brook Lopez, 34 and 7. Shot 6 for 12 from the three-point line, 12 for 27 from the field. Giannis gave you 34 and 13. Chris Middleton gave you 21, 6 and 11. Bledsoe gave you 15. Those are the only guys in double figures. Matthews had 6. George Hill had 4. Connaughton off the bench had 8. They do need some more scoring for the guys that's playing over 20 minutes, like DiVincenzo, only 1 point in 22 minutes. Williams only 4 points in 21 minutes. You're going to need some scoring. Now, those guys do bring defense. Like DiVincenzo was 0 for 4, 0 for 2 from the three-point line. But he brings defense. That's why he's consistently in a rotation. And you cannot replace somebody that's giving you defense. And at that guard position, the Bucks got some defenders. Luka still did what he wanted. But at the end of the day, Luka's great. When I'm looking at the Bucks, right, this is a game I was waiting for Brook Lopez to have. Brook Lopez was an all-star with the Nets. He was scoring 20 season after season after season with the Nets by dominating in the paint. Like, if Brook Lopez can do this in the playoffs, that's a huge X factor because, yeah, he changed his game to a three-point shooting, type of game. 6 for 12 from the three-point line. You'd have never expected Brook Lopez to do that, 8 years ago. But look at him now, one of the best shooting bigs in the league. But he still has the ability to be dominant in the paint. And I think the Bucks use that in the playoffs. They're going to be scary because there's not a lot of good centers, a lot of good paint defending centers right now. There's not, especially in the East. He can bully a lot of them. To be quite honest with you, he can bully a lot of them in the East. 34 and 7. I'm not surprised by that because that's what type of player he was with the Nets. I think he can be an X factor in the playoffs if they use him like that. Now, Sunday was a decent day. Sunday was just a day of learning things. The Thunder beat the Wizards 121-103. The Grizzlies lost to the Raptors 108-99. The Celtics beat the Magic in overtime 122-119. Tatum took over late. Hayward gave you 31. That's the old Hayward, though. He still got it. He's just learning, his new role, getting his rhythm. Rockets beat the Kings 129-112. Austin Rivers had 41. Now, to be completely honest, I am not surprised by this because I thought Austin Rivers would have had a way better career than what he's having. The man has the ability to score. That's what, he's known for in the league, to score. He needs to be more aggressive coming off the bench. I understand you playing with James and Russ, but you being more aggressive, that gives D'Antoni the opportunity to maybe sit both of them if he needs to, if they need a rest, and not be worried and not have to play those guys so many minutes. Him and Eric Gordon as a backcourt coming off the bench should be averaging at least 30 between the both of them because they have the ability to. In the last game, the Nets beat the Clippers. The Nets were in control the entire game. Yeah, the Clippers came back, but it was at one point the Nets was up about 20 plus. 20 plus, just dominating on offense. Yeah, Kawhi had 39, Morris had 15, Lil had 19. They went deep in their bench. I think they started off too slow. They weren't taking the Nets serious. The Nets then won some games against teams you wouldn't expect them to win now. Not saying they win a championship, not with this roster, but, you can't take a team lightly. At this point in time, when the Nets are kind of in playoff mode. Not kind of, they are in playoff mode. LeVert, 27-13. Allen, 16-16. Gary Temple, 19. Joe Harris, 25. Tyler Johnson, 21. Those were your main guys. And it's not like these guys are one-night wonders. That's what they do in this league. They just had a better opportunity that their star players aren't here to show it. But those are some quality guys now. Can't take them lightly. You cannot. But, man, this weekend was a lot. Those were some good games. But like I said, it was a weekend of learning. The Pelicans, we have now learned, because they lost to the Spurs, the Trailblazers won. The Pelicans, also the Kings, but this is about the Pelicans, what I'm about to get into. The Pelicans are not making it to the playoffs. They lost games that they shouldn't have lost. They lost to the Spurs and the Kings. 2 games they should not have lost. I said this when I made my race to the 8th predictions. The Pelicans cannot lose more than 1 game. They shouldn't have lost the game to begin with. They're playing teams that are not better than them. But the problem, the San Antonio Spurs just have a little bit more experience and a little bit more maturity. Yes, the Pelicans got them 2 vets, 3 if you count Derek Favors. He's been in the league a little while, you know. But their stars are all young. Lonzo Ball has been playing terrible in the bubble. Now I'm a Lonzo fan. I understand he's not going to go out and score 20, but his vision is something that we only see once every couple generations. He has that type vision. He's a very underrated defender. His scoring is just spotty, and it was definitely spotty during his bubble. He was shooting terrible, only averaging about 6 points. He's been playing terrible in this bubble, I'm not going to lie. Do I think that's how his career is going to be? No, but this was a time where he had to prove himself to say, okay, yeah, I'm here. So all the top guys are doing what they got to do, but Lonzo he's just not doing it, man. He had 5 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists against the Spurs, shooting 2 for 10, 0 for 4 from the 3-point, 0 for 4 from the 3-point line. Brandon Ingram had 17, shooting 6 for 14, 2 for 4 from the 3-point line against the Spurs. Lonzo, 27. I mean, not Lonzo. So I'm sorry. Zion, at 27 minutes, gave you 25 points. JJ Redick gave you 31 off the bench. Jrue Holiday, 2 for 12, 7.7 assists, 0 for 5 from the 3-point line. The guys that you needed the most, you couldn't count on. JJ Redick, consistent. Why? Because JJ Redick's a winner. This is the only year in this entire league, the 13 years he's been playing, that he has not made the playoffs. Zion, he's great. 27 minutes, 25 points. Almost a point a minute. Brandon Ingram, I mean, just got to do better. In my opinion, you're the best scorer on that team. And you was third in scoring, yeah. 17 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. You didn't have that bad of a game. You know, because those other 2 guys had great games. But you look at Jrue Holiday, Lonzo, y'all got to have better games. Even Josh Hart. 15 minutes, you didn't score, Josh Hart. You look at the Spurs, DeMar DeRozan went off in the fourth quarter. He had 27 total points, but more than half of that was in the fourth. They got destroyed on the rebounds. I mean, when it counted the most, the Spurs were getting them hustle rebounds. Rudy Gay gave you 19 off the bench. Murray gave you 18. White gave you 16. He would have had more, but he got hurt. He only played 20 minutes. It came down to maturity why they lost, man, and they shouldn't have lost. The Pelicans let me down. They let a lot of people down. I know they let the league down because the league wanted to see them in the playoffs. And they didn't, let me get into that. They didn't make their roster easy. The Pelicans roster was easy at the end of the season anyway. But going into this bubble, I thought they at least could have been in this play-in tournament. They had this 5-game stretch. They had the easiest 5 games out of anybody. It was in their own hands whether they made it to the playoffs or not. They didn't play good enough. They did not. I mean, who to blame? I don't know who to blame. It's not even on one particular person. Yeah, Lonzo had a bad game. Yeah, Jrue Holiday had a bad game. But as a team, this was a loss they shouldn't have lost. Against the Kings, they shouldn't have lost that either. They start off too slow sometimes. They didn't have a sense of urgency. You could tell from the jump. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to have to fight back. Because they did not have a sense of urgency from the jump. So hopefully they can get it together for next year. Because high hopes for that team if they can keep this core together. Because it's a nice core of talent. But it's just sad to not even see them in a fight to make the playoffs. They're not even going to be in a fight to make it. The Kings aren't either, but I didn't think the Kings were going to make it from the jump. Now, this other game I didn't talk about, this Sixers and this Blazers game. Damian Lillard went off for 51 points. 51 points. I ain't tripping. That's Dame. Great players gonna have great games. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing. And he was coming off, you know what I'm saying, that little incident with him and the Clippers. I knew something like this was gonna happen. Now he shot 4 for 12 from the 3-point line though. But he had 15 made free throws. He shot 16 for 28 from the field. Also had 7 assists. Carmelo had 20. You know, Nurk was in double figures. CJ McCollum was in double figures. Ozone was in double figures. Gary Trent didn't have his best game so far. 1 for 6 from the 3-point line. But at the end of the day, when Dame has 51, you're going to get the dub 9 times out of 10. Now on to the Sixers. Embiid was out. Only played 5 minutes because he had an injury. Ankle injury. I don't know the severity of it just yet. Right? He's out. Ben Simmons is out. Once Embiid got hurt, I didn't expect us to win. And it was closer than what I thought it was going to be. Josh Richardson had 34. Burks had 20 off the bench. And I'm not surprised by Burks having 20. That's what he does. Shake having 11. Let me get in the Shake real quick, bro. What you doing? They made you the starter, and now that Ben Simmons is not here, you really got the ball in your hand, and at the end of the game, you didn't play. We had Josh Richardson and Alec Burks controlling the rock, bro. Like, what are you doing, Shake? I'm going to be honest. I didn't want you to start from the first place because of experience. I'm going to be honest. I didn't want you in the starting lineup. I thought you would fit better coming off the bench. And in the bubble, you have been playing terrible. Yeah, you had a good shot. I mean, you hit a good shot when we won against the Spurs. But like, yo, bro, you've been playing terrible this entire bubble. To me, others may feel different, but to me, you just been playing bad this whole bubble. Al Horford, worst contract. He had a good game. Played 22 minutes. He had 15, 6, and 5. Shot 6 for 9. Had a good game, but it's not worth all that money. Especially not the way Brent Brown is, playing him. Tobias Harris had 16. 7 for 19 from the field. Tobias, bro, you're turning into a gunner right now. You're turning into a guy that is just not efficient, and that's just not max dollars worthy. Like, you were like the 4th best player. I'm just scratching my head. Korkmaz, 7 points, 12 minutes. I'm just scratching my head. Thibault, I have no worries about Thibault. He doesn't shoot. He doesn't get opportunities to shoot a lot, but is a tremendous defender. And then Robinson is just getting his legs. This is a guy who I thought should have been scoring. A guy who I thought should have been starting if he was healthy. Mike Scott, 9 points, 15 minutes. He finally had a decent game. But at the end of the day, with the Sixers, if Embiid is now out for the playoffs, I don't know, like I said, the severity of his injury, but if he's out for the playoffs and Ben Simmons is out for the playoffs, I do not want this to be an excuse for the reason why we don't fire Brent Brown. He has to go. I don't want to hear management saying he didn't have his stars for the playoffs because for the past couple of years he had them. Could not do nothing. Every Sixers fan know the reasons why we don't win is because of Brent Brown. If the Sixers trade away Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, the rant I'm going to have is going to be incredible, legendary. I hope it goes viral, and I hope the Sixers see it. I hope Brent Brown sees it because I'm going to go in. Because you should not trade away a young star over a known bad head coach. That should never happen. Why are you giving this dude more opportunities, bro? Let him go. Let him go. He does not know how to put his talent in the best situations. He obviously doesn't. Just looking at some of the plays, looking at some of the actions, looking at some of the sets he was calling, where he had people lined up I was about to say on the field, I'm tripping. Where he had people lined up on the court, standing on the court. I'm like, bro, he fits better here, he fits better there, he fits better there. Why are they lined up all in places that is not suitable to their strengths? Now, Josh Richardson was aggressive. 30 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. That had nothing to do with plays. The dude is just aggressive because he realized, okay, Embiid's not here. Simmons is not here. Tobias Harris is shooting terrible. Let me just chuck up some shots, And Josh Richardson has that type of ability. That's what I've been waiting for all season. I understand you're playing with Embiid and Simmons, 2 all-stars. Tobias Harris, a max guy. But listen, you being aggressive not only helps out you, but helps out the entire team. You know why? Because now nobody's going to help off you. And now when they help, you get there, you pump fake, you do what you got to do. They close out too hard, you pump fake, you shoot a mid-range, you get to the paint. Either way, you being aggressive not only helps out you, the entire team. On the defensive end, he has to be better. Because if Ben Simmons is out, he's that guy. Then Thibault off the bench is going to be that guy as well. But in the starting lineup, he's that guy. But yeah, man, for the Sixers, it's not looking good right now. It's not. 2 stars are hurt. I don't know the timetable for neither one of them. But I still want Brent Brown fired. Win, lose, or draw. Whatever happens. Now the Blazers, that win was crucial. Because they're only getting closer and closer to the 8th seed. Like, West is crazy. The Suns 5-0 right now. The Mavs playing lights out. It's going crazy right now in the West. I'm about to talk about it more after this ad. Man, that Western Conference is crazy right now. The current standings, Lakers 1, Clippers 2, Nuggets 3, Houston 4, OKC 5, Utah 6, Dallas 7, and Memphis 8. But it's going to be that playing tournament between 8th and 9th. And right now, Portland is 9th. And they're not going by wins and losses for this playing tournament. They're going by winner percentage. So the winner percentage for the Grizzlies is 0.465. For the Trailblazers is 0.458. For the Spurs, who are 10th, is 0.449. And then for the Suns, who's 5-0, is 0.443. The Pelicans and the Kings have now been officially eliminated. Pelicans are mad at y'all, but at the end of the day, it's y'all fault. So, it is what it is. Now, the playoff matchups we could see are crazy. Now, obviously, the 1-8, nobody's going to know until this play-in tournament is over. But I think most people's predictions are the Lakers and the Trailblazers. Now, the Trailblazers and the Grizzlies both have 2 tough schedules, right? The Spurs have an easier schedule compared to those two, and so do the Suns. But both the Grizzlies and the Trailblazers have better win percentages than them. So it's going to be good to see this race for 8th because it can go either way. My prediction is still the same when it comes to the Blazers being the 8th seed. Now the 9th seed is going to be different. That's up for grabs right now. It's whatever team wants it. But for the 7th seed, you got the Mavericks. And then the 2nd seed, you got the Clippers. Now this can all change because the Clippers have been losing some games. And the Nuggets fully healthy. I don't see them honestly losing too many more games. I got to look at the schedule. But those are item to change. Then you got the Houston Rockets. 4th with 44 wins. 0.638 winner percentage. But then you have the Thunder at 5th, 43 wins, 0.623 winner percentage. Then you got the Utah Jazz at 6th, 43 wins, 0.614 winner percentage. Now, I don't think the Mavericks can move up because they have 0.583 winner percentage, right? The Mavs played more games than anybody before, Corona. And the bubble happened, so their win percentage is lower because they lost more games. When you look at wins, they have 42, and the Jazz have 43. OKC has 43. Rockets only have 44. Like, 4 through 6 can change from now until the end of the regular season on Friday. Honestly, if the Denver loses, they can move. If the Denver Nuggets lose, they can move down to 6. But if they keep winning and the Clippers lose, then those are able to switch. Now, how they stand right now, the Clippers and the Mavs are going to be a tough series. It's going to be a tough series. Nobody can guard Kristaps on that team, but man, you got to throw a lot of people at Luka. That means Seth is going to have to step up. Hardaway is going to have to step up. All the young guards on the bench are going to have to step up. The Jazz and the Nuggets. Now that's going to be a really good playoff series that can go either way. The Nuggets are playing really well. And honestly, a healthy Nuggets team, in my opinion, is one of the best teams in the league. Because you got Jokic, one of the best centers in the league. The second best center in the league, in my opinion. You got Jamal Murray, a scorer. Can score on anybody, but he's also a really good playmaker. Now you got Michael Porter Jr. coming up as a guy that can give you 30. He can also rebound the ball. He's a good defender, not great, but this is his first real time playing a lot of basketball. He'll get better in his career, but right now, The dude's a hell of a basketball player. Well, Barton still hasn't played yet. They can get him healthy for the playoffs because in the West, you're going to need your guys in the first round because anybody can beat anybody because all these teams are really good teams. All these teams feel like they can win a championship, so you need your guys for the first round. If they can get Will Barton back, Gary Harris, Paul Millsap's healthy, that rotation they're going to have because they play at least 10. And all the guys they play contribute. Man, you talking about a full rotation of all quality guys that can start on different teams? I don't think anybody wants to see them. Like, they can shock a lot of people if they're healthy. 4 and 5, the Rockets and the Thunder, that's going to be nice to see. That's going to be nice to see. Chris Paul versus old team, Russ versus old team. But who knows how that's going to go? 4 through 6 can change. I don't see the Nuggets losing, 2 in a row. But even if they do, I don't know if the Rockets are going to win 2. Like, man, the West is crazy. I'm just shocked because I don't know who would win all these series. I'm looking at all these series I'm thinking about in my head. They can literally go either way. And now that there's no home court advantage, no team has the advantage because most of these rosters, one isn't that much better than the other. Now, the Thunder don't have the best roster, but they win basketball games. So, what can you really say? You can say the Mavs have a better roster than the Thunder, but the Thunder have a better record than the Mavs, right? The Blazers have a good roster. I think their bench is one of the reasons why they can't hang in games, and maybe defense too. Man, I just don't know with that team because their roster, they have a really good roster. And I know they had injuries and stuff, but they've been in some tight games that's questioning right now. I'm questioning, like, without Embiid and Ben Simmons, you shouldn't be that tight with my Sixers now. I'm going to be completely honest. And especially if you locked up, at third best scorer in Tobias, y'all should have locked up Josh Richardson, but kudos to him. I'm a Sixers fan. You go ahead and do your thing, bro. But even the Trailblazers versus the Lakers, if that's a first-round matchup, that's not an easy matchup for the Lakers. Y'all best point guard defenders aren't playing right now. And the Blazers' 2 best guys are Dame and CJ. And then Gary off the bench. Y'all got bigs to match up with Nurkic, but he isn't the one giving out 50. So the Lakers can't take that series lightly now. They got to play their best basketball. But yeah. Those is what the Western Conference matchups could potentially look like. Right now, you will see the Lakers and the Blazers, the Clippers and the Mavs, the Nuggets and the Jazz, the Rockets and the Thunder. But the playoffs isn't here yet. What is here, though, are the finalists for the NBA award. So let's talk about it. The finalists for MVP: Giannis, James Harden, and LeBron. Not surprised at all. Top 3 guys in the league right now. Could have made an argument for Luka, but James Harden's have a hell of a year. Averaging the most points in the league, almost 35. What can you say? Giannis, what he's doing. Under 30 points, about 13 rebounds. LeBron, who I feel like should win this award, 25 and 10. Those are your 3 finalists. It can go either way. In my opinion, you can really make a case for James Harden. He's averaging 35. Getting whatever he wants on the offensive end. Leading this team, a team that we've never seen before, really plays without no big. We've seen small ball. Remember the Phoenix Suns, 7 seconds or less. But they had Amari Stoudemire and Shawn Marion, who's a bigger guy than anybody on this Rockets team. Bigger than Robert Covington, Daniel House. So this is really the first small ball lineup that we've seen the team play. Not just for 5 minutes, but this lineup is what they go out and play every game. James Harden has helped leading that team. He is the leader of that team. He deserves to be on there. It can go either way, like I said, man. You know what Giannis is doing. You know what James is doing. You know what LeBron is doing. My pick is still going to be LeBron. Even though the more I think about it, the more everybody talks about it, the more I realize the league isn't going to do it because they love what's new. They love what's hot right now. Don't get me wrong, Giannis is having a great year. But LeBron's in year 17 leading the league in assists, averaging over 25 points and almost 8 rebounds, leading his team to the first seed in the Western Conference. First full year, playing a full year in the Western Conference, doing something that people said that couldn't be done. They said the Eastern Conference was too easy. Yet Giannis is having the first seed in the NBA, first seed in the East, and they're glorifying that, which they did a little while for LeBron, but at one point they said it was too old. They said that's what he's supposed to do. Why not hold that up for Giannis? Now, Giannis is younger. Well, honestly, let me not say this. Giannis is not younger. I'm about to kill all this noise. All of it. Giannis right now is in year 7. Year 7 of his time playing in the NBA. Now, I knew what Giannis was going to be ever since Jason Kidd became the head coach. I knew how good Giannis was going to be probably his second or third year in the league. Second or third year. Third year he averaged 16, then jumped to 22, 26, 27, and 29 this year. Right. Made the All-Star game 4 years in a row. Giannis not that young, bro. Year 7. He has some time in the league now. Where I'm not going to say it should be expected, but I'm saying y'all already know what y'all seeing. It's not that new. It's not that new. What Luka's doing is kind of new because this is his second year. Giannis is in year 7. Being in an All-Star game 4 years in a row. 22, 26, 27, 29 is his points per game for those four All-Star games. So he's not new. He's been in the league 7 years. So for the people that's saying, oh, Giannis is new, he's young. Yeah, he's young, but he's not new. He's not new. Now I'm not discrediting what Giannis has done. He's worked hard. He's worked hard. Like I said, when J. Kidd became the head coach, I was like, okay, this guy is nice. This guy is nice, and he's worked hard in order to get himself to this position. I'm not taking that away from him. But just hold him to the same standard y'all held LeBron when y'all was saying the Eastern Conference is the weak conference. Hold him to that same standard. When James Harden had that great year in 2018, y'all gave it to him. When LeBron had his great year, y'all said, oh, it's LeBron doing what he does. Now, I'm saying this again. I'm not taking credit away from what Giannis is doing. But LeBron deserves it this year. Now, if he was the 5th seed in the West, okay. Giannis all the way. But the 1st seed in the West? Come on now. Get a man his credit. Now the Rookie of the Year award finalist. John Morant, Kendrick Nunn, Zion Williamson. Now, could you make an argument that some other rookies should have been in the finalists because they played the entire year? Yeah, but are they anywhere as good as Zion? No. So I understand them putting Zion in the finalist. John Morant should win this award. If it goes to Zion Williamson, I don't think Zion Williamson himself thinks he deserves this award. John Morant's been playing an entire year, consistent entire year. Zion was only played 19 games, I believe, before Corona happened and before this bubble. And they only count, for anybody that doesn't know, they're only counting games from before the bubble. They're not counting anything from the bubble. Now, they're not doing that, which would have been unfair. Very unfair. Even though a lot of players are having great games, that's still going to be unfair. But at the end of the day, it's going to Ja. Zion has not played enough. He better not get this award, or the NBA, they're a little tricky. Now, Defensive Player of the Year, you got Giannis, AD, and Rudy Gobert. You know, my personal pick, I had Ben Simmons in the mix. Not surprised they didn't put him on here, but at the end of the day, everybody knows what type of year Ben Simmons had defensively, right? Got the 3 big names in here, though. You got Giannis, you got AD, you got Rudy Gobert. Who I pick, out of this 3, I'm going with AD. Won't be surprised if it goes to Giannis. I think Rudy Gobert is 3rd in contention unless it's tied between him and AD. But looking at the NBA, they probably gonna give the MVP to Giannis and Defensive Player of the Year to Giannis. Honestly, that's what they probably gonna do. But my pick is still Anthony Davis. Better rim protector in my opinion than Giannis. Not close. Has the ability like Giannis to guard all 5 positions. You know, maybe Giannis is a better perimeter defender. But it's not even close. He's better rim protector. They're both 2 guys at 6'11" that can guard all 5 positions. You know, Rudy Gobert is a good rim protector, yeah. That's what he does. He holds down the fort. AD and Giannis, though, are just great defenders with that ability to guard any single position. Now I'm going with AD. He's averaging 2.3 blocks and 1.4 steals. Give him this award. Honestly, he deserves it. He been deserved one. He's a 3 times block champion. As in, he led the league in blocks. Second year, 2.8. The year after that, 2.9. And then in 2017, 2018, 2.6. But when you look at his career, his averages for his career is 2.4 blocks. The only year he didn't average 2 blocks was his rookie year. He's always averaged over a steal a game. He's a great defender. The man deserves this award. Now, 6th man of the year. You got Montrez, Dennis Schroeder, Lou Will. My 3 finalists, you know. All 3 guys deserve this award. Who they going to give it to, I don't know. Who's my pick? I'm a Lou Will guy. I hope Lou Will gets it. So he gets, 4 6 mans of the year. Can be the all-time leader. But man, Montrez had a great year, though. Really the best big man on that Clippers team. Offensive-wise, stepped up. Defensive-wise, stepped up. Rebounds, stepped up. That's going to be close. And then you can't count on Dennis Schroeder. What the Thunder is doing with that 3-guard lineup. Dennis Schroeder give you 18 off the bench. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I keep saying it's going to be tough because I'm just thinking about it. Like, I'm curious on who that is going to be given to. Because out of all the things, all the awards that I named, this is the only one where I really have no idea. And no clear-cut favorite. Now, most improved, you have Bam and Brandon Ingram. Obviously, those 2 is going to be in there. But the third that makes sense but doesn't make sense, that a lot of people didn't see it coming, was Luka. Now, Luka came out and said Devontae Graham should have been, in the finalists. Wasn't wrong for that. Devontae Graham was a stud in college. He went up all the way up to 18 points from, I believe, 4 his rookie year. He's a stud. But Luka went up 8 points a game. It's the same thing Brandon Ingram did. And the same thing Bam Adebayo did. Yeah, we saw more flashes of greatness from Luka, but at the end of the day, he went up 8 points. So did those other guys. He also went up 2 assists and 2 rebounds, almost 3 rebounds. So, Luka, you kind of deserve to be in here. I understand why you don't want to be in here. I understand. You should be in MVP talks. But man, you really improved your game. Consistent-wise. We knew you had this potential, but the consistency to go out and score 29, grab almost 10 rebounds, pass out 9 assists. You're a walking triple-double. And you did improve from your rookie year to your sophomore year. Now, who's going to win? I'd be surprised if they give it to Luka. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I look at the stats, the more I watch his game. Luka's great. Will I be surprised if they give it to him? No, because of the fact that all of those guys have jumped up at least 8 points from last year to this year. Right? Those guys made the All-Star team. Brandon Ingram, leading scorer on his team. Bam Adebayo is not the leading scorer, but he's a key reason why that Heat team is winning. Now, my pick was Brandon Ingram. I'm still going with Brandon Ingram. Won't be surprised if any of those other dudes win because they all deserved it. All these guys improved their game. When it comes to most improved, you cannot argue with anybody because all the people that are on this list have made drastic jumps in their games. I'm still going with Brandon Ingram though. But like I said, I won't be surprised he gets it. Now, coach of the year, you got Mike Budenholzer for the Bucks, Billy Donovan for the Thunder, and Nick Nurse for the Raptors. Now I have Frank Vogel. Am I surprised he's not on this? No. The Lakers don't get enough credit. It makes no sense why they don't get enough credit. Like, let me just go on a little Lakers rant real quick. The first seed in the West from being the bottom of the bottoms in the West, right? It's his first year and this is for Frank Vogel. His first year coaching this new team and leads them to their first seed in the West. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, he had LeBron. Oh, he had AD. What does that mean? You're in the Western Conference, right? Everybody's talking about, oh, the Clippers, right? Why is nobody complaining that they're not the first seed? Why is Doc Rivers not in Coach of the Year? Y'all talk about all these great teams in the West, right? Don't talk about the Lakers, but then don't give the Lakers credit for doing what they're doing. It makes no sense, all right? Because now I'm hot. It makes no sense. Y'all talk about all these great teams, all these great players. Y'all talk about Kawhi, Paul George, right? How they're so great. Yeah, LeBron's in the MVP race, and he doesn't get the credit for it. He doesn't get the credit for averaging 25, about 8 and 10. He's not getting no credit for that. Like, y'all talk about all these great players. All these great players. Where AD credit at? Leading the team in a lot of categories. Points, rebounds, not assists, I'm sorry, steals, blocks. Come on now. Give this team some credit. Frank Vogel, his first year coaching this team, and they're the first seed in the West. I understand you might not want to give it to him. Hold on, scratch that. Mike Budenholzer for the Bucks. I understand that they're the first seed in the entire NBA. They got the best record. That's cool. A lot of coaches have great records and didn't win this award, right? Because I've seen it. This is not his first year coaching this Bucks team. They were great last year and they're great again this year. Why is anybody surprised? Right? It was Frank Vogel's first year on a new team and they're the first seed in the West. He should be in a finalist over Mike Budenholzer. I don't care that they have the best record. They're bringing back the same team with. They didn't lose nobody. They only added more pieces. Like, come on now. This is not me being a super LeBron fan or even a Lakers fan. Because everybody I know, I bleed for the Sixers. The Sixers is by far my favorite team. I'm just being a realist right now. I'm being a realist. This is dude, his first year coaching in the West with his new team, did their first seed in the West. Right? That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go into it more. But man, the Lakers should have 3 people in these award finalists. And honestly, all 3 of them should have won their awards. LeBron should get MVP, which he's probably not going to get. AD should win Defensive Player of the Year, which he's not going to get. And Frank Vogel should have been a finalist. In my opinion, should have won the award, which he's not going to get. So I'm going to get into that when I'm done talking about the coaches of the year. Then you got Billy Donovan with the Thunder, Nick Nurse with the Raptors. Billy Donovan deserves to be on here. I mean, nobody had the Thunder making it to the playoffs. I didn't think they were going to be sorry. I honestly just didn't think they were going to make it into the playoffs because I thought teams like the Blazers and the Pelicans would have had better years because they had better rosters than the Thunder. But the Thunder have good players, don't get me wrong. I didn't think they were going to be sorry. I just didn't think they were going to make it to the playoffs, let alone be a 5th seed as they stand right now. So kudos to him. He deserves to be here. Nick Nurse with the Raptors. All right. I said I'm a realist, so let me be real. He deserves to be here. He lost his superstar, then he lost Danny Green. Yet it's the 2nd seed in the East. They're a great defensive team. They play good They play great basketball. They do what's necessary to win games. He deserves to be on here. And if these are your finalists, then it deserves to be either Nick Nurse or Billy Donovan. It better not be Mike Budenholzer. For what? Because he got the best record in the NBA? Got the same team, the same players, the same great player. He didn't have a new challenge like Frank Vogel did, right? Billy Donovan. This is a new challenge. He lost Paul George and Russell Westbrook. Got a new team, got a younger team, and still made it to the playoffs as the 5th seed. Nick Nurse lost Kawhi Leonard, the player why they won a championship last year. Lost Danny Green, a player why they won a championship last year. Yeah, Kawhi was the main guy, but Danny Green had a humongous role, right? Pascal Siakam had to help step up. Kyle Lowry had to go back to being a leader. Fran VanVleet had to step up. Everybody had to step up, but most importantly, Nick Nurse had to step up because his team is not as talented as these other teams. Honestly, when you talk about talent-wise, the Raptors, are at the bottom 10 when it comes to top 10 talented teams. You can't even make a case they're not even top 10. But what you can make a case for is that they're coached right on both ends of the court. That their coach puts them in the best position to win. That's why he deserves to be on here. I'm not going to go in on why, Lakers should have 3 people in here and 1 on 3. I'm not even going to do that no more. But it's going to be nice to see who wins these awards. That's how I'm going to end it off with. It's going to be nice. Very nice. The only one that I really have no clue and I'm curious for is 6 Man. The other ones, I'm not too curious. And most improved. Coach of the year, I don't even want to talk about that no more. Defensive player of the year, I already know what that's hitting for. MVP, I already know what that's hitting for. Rookie of the year, it's obvious. But yeah, there's some good players, some good coaches in these awards. I hope the league does the right thing and doesn't be biased. And I'm also hoping that they announce these awards. Honestly, I'm hoping that they have a little ceremony in the hotel, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Because all teams are there. They're all testing negative. They're playing each other. So why not have a little mini ceremony in the bubble? That'd be lit. I wonder what y'all think about that. Should they have a ceremony in the bubble? Or they should announce it, before a game. But that's kind of corny because there's no fans out there. So you might as well have, that little celebration thing. You got some announcers there. It'd be lit. I know it'd be lit. Either you can have only the finalists there or, some main guys there. Either way, I gotta do that, John, man. It would be lit. I know I'm not tripping. But enough about the awards. Today's games, Tuesday's games. Today, some heat going on. 2:30, you got the Thunder and the Suns. 3 o'clock, you got the Mavs and the Jazz. 6:30, you got the Raptors and the Bucks. 8 o'clock, the Pacers and the Heat. 9 o'clock, the Nuggets and the Lakers. Now this 2:30 game, this Thunder and the Suns game, it's going to be close. I'm going with the Suns strictly off of I've been a Devin Booker fan. DeAndre Ayton has been playing well. Their role players have been playing well. They're hungry right now. And yes, the Thunder are hungry too. They've been playing really well as well. But I'm just going with the Suns. I just like how they've been playing basketball this entire bubble. 3 o'clock, you got the Mavs and the Jazz. I'm going with the Mavs. I seem to always go with the Mavs because their roster is nice. What they lack on defense, they completely destroy teams on the offensive end. I don't see nobody holding Luka. The best matchup we're going to see is going to be Kristaps versus Rudy Gobert because I know that Rudy's going to be guarding Kristaps. So I think Kristaps is going to pull him out the paint. Once he do that, Luka is going to have fun. He's going to have fun. Very close game, I think, is going to be, though. But I'm going with the Mavs at the end. 6:30, the Raptors and the Bucks. Very good game. Very defensive-minded game we're going to see tonight. Going with the Bucks. However, do not count out this Raptors team. Because somehow, they always find a way to fight. Still going with the Bucks, though. I think Giannis is going to destroy. I think he's going to destroy Siakam. I'm just going to be completely honest. I think the size of Milwaukee is going to have an advantage today against the Raptors. I do think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going with the Bucks. Heat versus the Pacers. I heard something that TJ Warren might not play. He's questionable. Boy, you better not duck this action. If Jimmy Butler's healthy and playing, you better be healthy and playing. Jimmy Butler's not playing, then go ahead and take a night off. But boy, y'all better not duck this action. Because they was talking crazy to each other in January. And I'm here for it all. Because the league is soft. I'm tired of all this soft stuff. At the end of the day, y'all ball players, you know what I'm saying, y'all competitors, I understand how you get when you compete. You might talk crazy. Your emotions going to get the best of you. And that's what happened. I'm here for it. I'm here for it because TJ Warren's been going off. And Jimmy Butler's guarding him. He lock him up. Ooh, I know y'all TJ Warren, hype beast, bandwagon fans going to be salty. I know y'all going to be salty. But, in all seriousness, I'm going with the Heat, healthy or not. I just like the way they play basketball better than the Pacers play basketball. I don't know what the Pacers' identity is right now. You know, their best player isn't playing his best basketball because he's been injured. He's working his way back. But I just don't know their identity. I know with the Heat, they're going to shoot the three-pointer high at a good clip, leading the league, if I'm not mistaken, in three-point percentage. Then I know they're going to defend. Whether they throw a zone at you, whether they go man to man, they're going to defend. They play smart. They have a great head coach, a great team. If they're healthy, I do not see the Pacers winning. But like I said, if Goran Dragic isn't playing, Jimmy Butler isn't playing, I'm still going with the Heat. Then at 9 o'clock, you got the Nuggets and the Lakers. Now, I'm going with the Lakers. I am. Will I be surprised if the Nuggets win? No, I will not. You look at the Nuggets roster. Who's going to guard Jamal Murray for the Lakers? That's a question mark. Right? MPJ. Who's going to guard him, whether it's going to be LeBron, AD. I know towards the end of the game, Kuzma's probably going to be guarding him. Right? It's going to be good to see Jokic and AD. Jokic and JaVale, the white, the big man matchup. It's going to be good to see the benches go at it. It's going to be a really good game. I hope the Lakers as a team play well. I don't want to see just AD go off and LeBron have a decent game. Or LeBron go off and AD have a decent game. Or everybody else on the team just doesn't play up to par. No. This Nuggets team is a team that honestly has a chance to make it to the championship. I don't care what nobody say. Healthy, they're hard to beat. Hard to beat. They're young, but at the end of the day, they're hard to beat 4 games if they're completely healthy. This should be a game, if the Lakers are fully healthy, that they need to take serious and consider it a playoff matchup because it could be a possibility. It could be a possibility. I'm going with the Lakers, though. I think it's going to be close. It could go either way. But my pick is the Lakers. Then on Tuesday, 1 o'clock, you got the Nets and the Magic. The battle for the AC in the Eastern Conference. I mean, I'm going with the Nets. Should I go with the Nets? No, I'm going with the... Dang, that's tough. That's tough because the Nets have been playing well. The Magic, I'm always a fan of the Magic because the Magic just lack star power because they play basketball the right way. They don't turn the ball over, and they rebound. That's how you win games. The thing is, though, their offense is trash, and their defense is so-so. But I'm still going with the Magic that game. 2 o'clock Tuesday, the Rockets versus Spurs. I'm going with the Rockets. The Rockets sit players, though, that's going to help the Spurs as the Spurs are looking into getting in the playoffs. But fully healthy, I'm going with the Rockets. 4:30, you got the Suns and the Sixers. I'm going with the Sixers. No Embiid, no Simmons, still going with my team. Never, ever, ever, ever picking against them. But will I be surprised if the Suns wins if our 2-star players aren't playing? No, I will not. Will that help the Suns out if our 2-star players are not playing? Yes, it will. Because they could try to sneak in a victory. Then at 5 o'clock, you got the Celtics and the Grizzlies. I'm going with the Celtics. I remember I previously said that I didn't think the Grizzlies would win their final 5 games. They won 1 against the Thunder, but I don't see them beating the Celtics. I don't. At all. Completely healthy. The Celtics have a better roster, better coach, better everything. Might be a close game because the Grizzlies play hard, but at the end of the day, Celtics are going to close it out. Then 6:30 on Tuesday. Game of the night. The Blazers versus the Mavericks. Ooh, this is tricky because I like both teams. Oh my goodness. I'm not picking that game. I'm not. Screw it. I'm going to pick it. I'm going to go. I'm going to come to that last one. I got to think about that one. 9 o'clock. What could have been a really good game now is meaningless. I wouldn't be surprised if Zion doesn't play. Pelicans versus the Kings. This is supposed to be a good, important game because both teams were fighting to get into the playoffs. But since the Kings beat the Pelicans the first time, and then the Pelicans lost to the Spurs, they're now not in it. The Kings were never going to be in it because I didn't expect them to win anything. So now the game is low-key meaningless, but it might be a good game nonetheless. Then 9 o'clock, you got the Bucks and the Wizards. Bucks are winning that. The only way they lose if they don't take the game serious. Not really worried about that game. But this 6:30 game, this Blazers and this Mavericks game, right? Blazers are trying to get into the playoffs. They cannot afford a loss because they have a tough schedule, right? So you look at Tuesday, the Spurs, who are also fighting to get in their 10th seed, are playing the Rockets, a tough team. Grizzlies, the current 8th seed, playing the Celtics, tough team. Blazers playing the Mavericks, tough team. None of those teams are favored to win any of the games. I don't think the Spurs can win. I don't think the Grizzlies can win. But I do think the Blazers can win if they play right. And I'm picking the Blazers to win. It can go either way. I will not be surprised if the Mavericks win. Honestly, this is either team can get this victory type of game. You can go either way. The Mavericks might win. The Blazers might win. You know, a couple hours I might think about it, say, I got the Mavericks, because you just don't know. The Blazers have a really good roster. Dame, CJ, Melo, Nurkic, Whiteside at the bench. Collins is doing what he has to do, starting in the lineup. Gary Trent. But you look at the Mavs. Luka, Kristaps, Seth Curry. When he's hot, he's on. Tim Hardaway. When he's consistent, he can give you about 15. Finley Smith, the best defender. Right? I'm going with the Blazers. I'm going to be curious to see how they're going to guard Luka. I know Gary Trent is going to play a lot because he's their best guard defender. He's their best wing defender. Yeah, he's their best wing defender, perimeter defender. You got good big man defenders, but they're not guarding Luka. You know, it's going to be good to see Nurkic go at Kristaps, Collins go at Kristaps. Hope I'm not messing his name up. But anyway, when it comes to Dame and CJ, they got to be on. They need to hit their shots if they want to win, because Luka's going to put up some numbers now. Because you only got one guy that's known as a defender. Dame's not known as a defender, but he going to give it all on the defensive end. Him and Luka is going to be a good matchup. Very good matchup. But I'm going with the Blazers. So that's the games on Monday and Tuesday. Ooh-wee. Can't wait to see it. That's a wrap for this episode. You know, talk about the awards. Talk about today's and Tuesday's games. I'm excited to hear what you guys think about it. Who do you think going to win some of the awards coming up? Who do you think is going to win today's games or Tuesday's games? Let me know. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at sportsw_Chris. sportsw_Chris. I've been loving all the support, all the DMs I've been getting, all the followers I done received. I'm thankful. Stay tuned for future episodes, and thank you all for listening.